the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine. From the place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome. But nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, it's the match review. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Newcastle United 1, FA Cup third round at Hillsborough. So before I get into the video and any comments, guys, if you like what you see, please hit the like button. It does help the channel up the search results and makes it found more easily as well. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so, helps the channel grow, and bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any coming shows. So we get that little formality out the way. Yeah, so I've got a couple of comments here. First one's right. He says, Tony is small-minded and going to stunt the growth of this once great club. Keegan would have axed all of them in the summer. He did 95, ripped the squad up, brought in new top players. Yeah, but the difference is, though, we've got a thing called FFP now. And we've got to be within the parameters of the financial fair play, unfortunately. So we can't just go out now and go and spend mega amounts of money to rebuild that squad. We've got to build the money up gradually to do that. Yes, there is room for manoeuvre to have a little bit buying in, but we've got to do it sensibly, unfortunately. And that is the problem. And that's all I can see on that matter. We just have to wait and see. Rat always goes on to say, if you can contribute the first team results, in any way you shouldn't be at the club. There are players there robbing a living. That group of players are what the first team trains against. We are done. Do you know what? I see where you're coming from. There is some players there that need to go. Again, the problem is the former owner's got a lot to take the blame for. You put a lot of these on big contracts, big money, and the problem is which club wants to buy them and who wants to pay their wages. That is the problem. And because we're on a long contract, they'll sit on the bench because they know they're going to get paid, and they don't have to move unless we actually cancel the contracts, and that's going to cost a lot of money. Mark says, hi Mark, hope you're well, mate. He says, Eddie Howe is the only one to blame for picking the shite. I mean, he's made changes. I don't know if I go as far as blaming Eddie Howe on this, because I think his hands are tied. We had that hard game against Arsenal on Tuesday, which took a lot out of the team. I mean, that was a real battle to get that point. And to come out of that game 0-0, a lot of our players were absolutely shattered, and they left everything on that pitch against Arsenal, like Sir Joe Willock. So yesterday he had to sort of change things about, give players a rest. I mean, we did have some players on the bench like Bruno, Trippier, Willock. So he had to rotate. And unfortunately, the rotation proved that team we had out there yesterday is not good enough. That's the problem. There are players there that are clearly not good enough at this club. But the problem is, how can we get rid of these players? I mean, we've got rid of Kieran Clark to Sheffield United. He's on loan till the end of the season. His contract's up, but we're paying his wages. It's the only way we can get him out the club, but we're still paying his wages, or part of his wages that are on the books. So once his contract's up in the summer, he can go. Once we get some of these players off the wage bill, FFP starts to grow as well. And once we get more sponsorship in. I mean, yes, the former owner left the club in a great shape by having no debt there, which, okay, that's fair enough. But he didn't do enough for generating funds for the club. And that's the problem with the FFP rules. So we've got to sort of be careful on that. But I wouldn't really go too much on blaming Eddie Howe too quickly because I mean, he's done absolutely fantastic, Eddie Howe. I mean, not only did he keep us up, I mean, we hadn't won for 14 games last season, remember? And then we stayed up by a country mile. And we didn't just stay up by a point or goal difference. We stayed up well and truly. We finished 11th place last season. This season, we're in the top 4 of the Premier League. We're third top on goal difference as well. We've played a lot better this season. We're in the quarter-final of a Carabao Cup. Yes, we're disappointed to be out of the FA Cup, and we'll get into that as well. But let's not be too harsh on Eddie Howe, because he can only pick what he's got to work with, unfortunately. Like I say, until we get better quality in and get rid of him, then that's all I can see on that matter for the moment. Davey, good afternoon. Tony, good afternoon, Davey. I hope you're well, mate. Good afternoon, Tony, mate. Says, cheers. Hope you're well, buddy. Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. And apart from the weather, it's absolutely chucking it down the rain outside. Rat says, it's bollocks. FFP is a European sanction system. England don't care what you spend. There are 2 FFPs and we ain't in Europe, so the club use it as a way to appease the takeover. There is an FFP and we have got to be careful. But, say January's a long window and we just got to wait and see what happens in January, and that's all we can do. I mean, this player we're linked to, Ferland Mendy, apparently, according to a journalist, Peter O'Rourke, it won't be happening in the January window because apparently Eddie Howe has said left back isn't a priority in this window. He wants to revisit the left back situation in the summer. So one name's being ruled out, and that's according to a journalist, and that's Ferland Mendy. So if anybody's expecting him to come in this window, by the sounds of a journalist, it ain't happening till at least the summer. So that one's been put out. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. We don't really know. Davey says, I think Eddie expected more from the team he picked. Yes, we had chances to win that game. We had chances in that game of scoring. And we're going to get into that in a minute. I'm just going to go to the next comment and then Rat says, Tony, you can't defend Eddie last night. Eddie Howe trusted this shit and it shows a judgment is biased because he's too friendly with the players as a manager. Can't you be a friend and your boss at the same time? Look, I wasn't over impressed with the team that was picked, but what I did do is I backed the team 100%. And the team that was out there, and that's no disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday, I expected that team to go out there and win that game. Yes, Isak's just come back from a long absence out with injury since September. So yes, it's quite natural he was going to be rusty last night. But some of them, I'm going to get into that, are not good enough for this club. He says, are you just going to cloud over every time he messes up? I trust Eddie's tactics, but I don't trust his opinion on the squad. If he thinks those have the quality, maybe he shouldn't be allowed to sign players. Again, one thing Eddie Howe's not going to do, he's not going to come out and say, right, sorry, you're crap in public and do it publicly. He's going to keep that private to himself. He probably knows in his own head, that player's not good enough, that one's not good enough, that one's not good enough. But he's not going to publicly slate the players. And that's what I'm saying about Eddie Howe. He's not his... Yes, he'll take some responsibility for the squad he picked, but his hands are tied, unfortunately. We just haven't got the squad to compete on 3 fronts, and that is the thing. Mendy ain't coming to us. Real Madrid have 1 left back. Him. Yeah, well, according to a journalist, we're not signing the left back this window. Apparently that's not till the summer. Gary, good afternoon, Gary. Hope you're well, mate. He says, Mike Ashley had plenty of money to spend, but spent it on shopping places that was going bust. So that's where all the money went, Tony, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he bought all these brands, didn't he? Like Game and, you know, fashion shops, things like that. Any high street shop that was going bust, House of Fraser, he went out and bought them to survive, to save them, and then carry them on. Yeah, I know where you come from, Gary, and that's the problem. But the problem is, Mike Ashley could have done more for this club when he was there, like our owners are doing now, getting little sponsors in. Why didn't he do that? That's the problem. He didn't do it, and he left the club debt free, but he left us in a bit of the mire, really, because some of the players out there are just not good enough, and he didn't really invest. Just says that obscene, stating that it's a stain on this once great club. Our club is in transition phase, and to ignore that is harshly unrealistic. Eddie Howe is the best thing that happened to our club. I totally agree, Ches. Absolutely, mate. I mean, we're in a transition phase. I mean, did we honestly think that by this time now we would have actually been, one, in the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup, and two, third top in the Premier League? I mean, who would have thought we would have been in the top three of the Premier League come January? Because I'll tell you now, I didn't think we would be there. I thought we may be around 7th to 10th place by January. And I would have been happy with that, if I'm honest, because that's progress from where we have been in the last few seasons. Last few seasons, we've been flirting with relegation and we've been staying up just. But like I say, this season, it's a totally different animal. And, I mean, that was nice to Sheffield Wednesday fans, because I put on their podcast page, I said, oh, look, well done, Sheffield Wednesday. You deserved that last night. We don't have the strength and depth. And then there was a Sheffield Wednesday fan come on and said, oh, strength and depth, they must have left Mbappe, Haaland and Messi at home. And I said, no, all I was saying was our team, we just haven't got the players in the team that, to go out there and win that game last night. We just haven't got that strength and depth. And he said, oh, well, your full first team wouldn't have beat us anyway. And I just thought, well, actually, they probably would have beat you, to be fair. But we didn't play our full first team last night. So, I mean, but the majority of Sheffield Wednesday fans I've had coming on here have been absolutely fantastic. I mean, last night, they were so respectful last night. That they said we done all right. And I thought, yeah, they were quite all right the way they did things. But last night, they were really respectful who came on here, and I applaud them. And if they're watching now, thank you very much for coming on, because absolutely fantastic. Tanji says, Hi Tanji says, my answer to Paul is we've already achieved more than last season. Let's not get carried away by trying to win 3 trophies. 20 games left in the league and another 4 games if we reach the Carabao Cup final. Yeah, absolutely, Tanji. I mean, the thing is, we beat Leicester. We've then got a 2-legged semi-final. Yes, it would be lovely in an ideal world if we go into that semi-final facing either Wolves or Nottingham Forest. That would be fantastic. And then we got a chance to get the final and hopefully go on and win it. But we know the investment's there. We know it has to be done, but we've got to do it in a steady stage. That's the problem. And we've just got to take it easy. But until we can get rid of some of these players, Ryan Fraser, 80 grand a week, needs to go. Jamal Lascelles is another one, needs to go. There's plenty of them out there. Jamal Lewis, not good enough, needs to go. But we're going to talk about that a bit later on anyway. Rat says, Tony, we don't have the squad for top 4. If we're lucky, we will get Europa League. Do you know what it is, though, right? I know we're in the top 4, and I've said this for a long time. Yes, I'm very happy being in the top 4, and if we finish in the top 4, I'll be absolutely elated. But I don't get carried away, and I've always kept my feet on the ground. I've always said, and even John Sinclair was a bit shocked when I said it, but I was saying, look, I'm trying to be real on this. I want to see where we are come April. And if we're still in the top four, or there's a chance we're staying in that top four come April, then that's fine. If it means we had to finish as low as 7th and end up in the Europa Conference League, do you know what? I don't mind that, because that's progress. That is progress, because the last time we were in Europe was in the 2012 season under Mike Ashley, when Alan Pardew got us to 5th in the table and got into the Europa League. We've never been in Europe since. So let's be positive here. Even if we finish 7th, that's still a damn good season, because we're bringing European football to St James's Park next year. Yes, it might not be the glitz and the glamour of the Champions League, but it will certainly be European football. And that Conference League is a competition that is anybody's to win. So why not? Let's have a go. Let's see where we are come April or at the end of the season. If come April we're comfortable in the top four and we're going to finish in there, then fine. Happy with that. I'll be absolutely ecstatic. But as I say, if we did finish as low as 7th, I wouldn't be disappointed. I would be elated, because I'd think, well, actually, we've achieved European football. And that is progression. And that is fast progression compared to where we were last season. Got to remember where we were last season, first of all, guys, before you start thinking, oh, well, actually, we're not good enough to be in the top four. Just think where we were last season to where we are now, how much we have progressed and how much Eddie Howe has done in this club. Remember, Eddie Howe had a full pre-season. So he had a full pre-season to work with the players, to get his message across, to get his training ethics across, and to get the players all in tune for how he wants to play the game. And that is exactly where we are now. And that's all down to Eddie Howe and his coach and staff. I've seen people out there questioning Eddie Howe, some even saying, let's get rid of him. I'm sorry, are you absolutely deluded? Are you absolutely stupid to get rid of Eddie Howe? Why? Just because we've gone out the FA Cup, for God's sake. Jesus, honestly, Eddie Howe has done a hell of a lot for this club. And I'll tell you now, if people are starting to question the integrity of Eddie Howe, then they really do need to give their heads a wobble, because I'm telling you now, he is probably one of the best managers we've had at this club for a long, long time, since Bobby Robson even. Or maybe Benitez, because Benitez did well for us. But, you know, and Benitez done it under extreme circumstances, because he had to work under a very tight budget. So for anybody who's out there questioning that Eddie Howe should be sacked or hounded out of this club, really need to give themselves a hard, long look at themselves, because I'm telling you now, this guy has done amazing in our club in such a short time. We all know the job he done with Bournemouth. He done a terrific job with them. I even seen a Bournemouth fan last night on Twitter after I came off my show, and he turned around and he put on there, he says, this club hasn't been the same since Howe left, and they're not happy with Gary O'Neill apparently as well. So that just shows you how lucky we are to have a manager in the calibre of Eddie Howe. And believe me, this manager is going places. So if anybody, they're either not proper fans or they're Mackhams who are coming out with this crap. Because I'm telling you now, every Newcastle fan that I've seen put on, nobody is actually wanting rid of Eddie Howe. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter. Ches says, we're third in the league, not far from Carabao Cup final. What more could you ask for? The beginning of the season, honestly, this kind of support for our gaffer is bordering on entitlement. Totally agree with you, Ches. Absolutely, it really annoys me. Well said, Tamji, says Ches. Blakey, I was happy with the team that he picked. He's got Tuesday in mind. When we're last in the cup quarter final, we don't have a strong squad. We can't play the best team every game. Fact is, players, one of two. I mean, yeah, we went in the cup quarter final a couple of years ago. We played Brentford when Bruce Cabbagehead was manager, and we limped out of that. We didn't go for it, and we got beat by Brentford. And yeah, so that was the last time we were in there a couple of years ago. Chelsea is exactly Blakey, and he goes on to say, page 2 of 2. Players yesterday didn't perform, and I don't blame Eddie that they just aren't good enough. Totally agree with you, Blakey. Absolutely 100%, mate. Tanji says our team selection was really check. Most of those players are League One standard and have hardly kicked a ball all season. With up to 24 games left, we can't put too much pressure on the best 11. That's the thing, Tanji. We can't just keep doing it because, as I say, against Arsenal, that team left everything on that pitch. They were absolutely knackered at the end of that game. And then if you'd put them players back in again yesterday, the full squad, to play yesterday and then play again Tuesday, they're not going to be able to do it. They're not. They're professional sportsmen, but they're not robots. And that's the difference. Rat says, really, you're forgetting Keegan Robson. Let me make this clear. If it wasn't for Keegan, none of you would ever support this club. That man is Newcastle. Well, I mean, Keegan done a lot for this club. I've supported this club since 1982. And I can tell you now, the 80s was horrible. And I mean horrible. Under the likes of Stan Seymour, Gordon McKeague, them guys were leech on the club, just like Ashley was. And in the 80s, we were a selling club. You know, we sold Waddle, Gascoigne, Beardsley. We sold 3 great Geordie players there who were world-class players. And we sold them. You know, Tottenham, Liverpool. Because we sold Waddle to Tottenham, Gascoigne to Tottenham, Beardsley to Liverpool. And, you know, and in the 80s, it was tough. We brought Mirandina in. We bought him on the back of him scoring an equaliser against England at Wembley. And, you know, first Brazilian to ever play in the Premier League. And what a cracking player he was, by the way, Mirandina. And, you know, he'll always will be. But in the 80s, it was absolutely horrible. So I was there before Keegan came. And, yeah, the thing is, Keegan was a great manager at our club. He brought exciting football to the club. He brought the entertainment era to it as well. Fortunately, he lost it on main games with Alex Ferguson because we were 12 points clear. Alex Ferguson started getting in his head. Yes, people lay the blame on Aspria. I don't particularly lay the blame on Aspria. You got to look at the team in a whole. Yes, it was exciting. We should have won that league that year. We didn't win it. That's the thing. We didn't win it. But, you know, we thank Keegan because it was exciting football we played. I mean, we lost to 4-0 to Man United in that Charity Shield. 3 months later, we played at St James's Park and we walloped them 5-0. And that's, you know, and that's what I'm saying. But you've got to realise this club, like I say, back in the 80s, and Ashley was a mirror of that, the way he was at the club. Andrew says, yeah, absolutely fine, mate. I hope you're well as well, mate. Blakey says, anyone who doubts Eddie after what he's done since he took over really needs to wake up. I'll tell you one thing. If Emery had got the job, we wouldn't be where we are now. No chance. Do you know what? I don't think we would have. I was absolutely, to be honest with you, when the talk of Emery was coming in, I was saying to a lot of people, I don't want him. And people thought I was being deluded. And I said, well, no. Yes, he's got a great CV. Yes, he's won a lot of trophies. But I don't want him at the club because I'm not sure how he'd cope in a relegation zone. And that is the problem. Where at least Eddie Howe came into the club. And when he came in, I know some people weren't happy with it. And I know the likes of Villa fans were laughing at us. So when Norwich fans are, they've got Eddie Howe. But, you know, we've got Norwich CR, we got Dean Smith, and where he's no longer there. And Villa got Gerrard. But you know what? We got the best of the bunch because we got Eddie Howe. And he's done very, very well. And people who question his integrity really need to take a long, hard look at themselves. Davey says, never mind the cups, top 4 will be brilliant. Absolutely. Ches, how could any of us expect to stay in 2 cups and retain Champions League place? Look how we fell apart when we made Europe with the squad. We had minimal investment. This isn't directed at you at all, Tony. No, that's absolutely fine, mate. No, I understand. Cheers, don't worry about that, mate. Hi, John. Yes, hope you're well. He says, been defending mud, but yeah, I know it's one of those things, isn't it? It's, yeah. Chelsea is right. Speak for yourself. Can't tell any RC fans that they wouldn't support the club if it wasn't for KK. Yeah, that's fine. Cheers. Thank you very much. Tony, that first 11 must look on the bench and think, F me, we can't come off Saints injured or causing trouble. Wilson injury bound. Isak not up to shape yet. We've had 2 windows to clear out, 2 left. Well, when you want us took over the club, Manda Staveley stated in that interview they have a 5 to 10 year plan. And in that 5 to 10 year plan, they plan to win the Premier League. They plan to win the Champions League. Now, we're in the top 3 at the moment. Some people might look and think, have we overachieved already? We're in a great position. Now, PIF, the majority shareholder, aren't stupid. They are Saudis. They are winners. Saudis, anybody from the Middle East, they like success. They do not like failure. And because the Saudis and PIF, they're very astute business people. And they know what's got to be done at this club. And they know it's going to take a while to get this club back to where it belongs properly. But they know they have to do it with investment. But they've also got to battle with the FFP. And that is hence why we're bringing these sponsorships in. So we've just got to bear with it. I always said it would probably take maybe not this summer, maybe next summer, before you start clearing everybody out the club. That's from probably the Mike Ashley area. You'll only keep the ones that are good enough. The ones that aren't good enough will be gone. I'm joined by John Sinclair as well. Hi, John. How are you?
Tony, I had to have my camera out because I'm on the road and I think it works better when I'm on the road. I'm great, mate. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, John. John, I'm going to ask you this question because I'm a bit annoyed what I've seen on Twitter, and I just want to know what your reaction is to this as well. So, some people on Twitter, I don't know if they're proper Newcastle fans or if they're just Mackems causing trouble. But anyway, there's people out there, not all the people, just a minority, that are questioning Eddie Howe's integrity. Some are saying Eddie Howe should be sacked because that team he put out last night is looking, you'd think it was Steve Bruce in charge on the touchline. And I think in a way, either they need to give their heads a wobble or have a long, hard look at themselves, because that, for what Eddie Howe's done to this club, from where we were last season to where we are this season, is one hell of a transformation. And, John, what's your thoughts on that?
Tony, I'm the chilled out guy. I'm a chilled out guy, and that I'm always placid, whatever sort of thing. And I said I was like, but the tweets I've seen today, right, absolutely winds us up. I mean, it's right. Eddie Howe, right, has done a fantastic job in such a short space of time, okay? And people want him sacked because what he did. Now, people are saying that if Steve Bruce did that, he'd be sacked. So the same should be applied for Eddie Howe. Let me be clear, right? Eddie Howe had to put that side. He sees fit, right? Yeah, okay, 1 or 2 should never play for Newcastle again, right? Now, he's playing them out. He's giving them opportunity to redeem themselves, like Chris Wood, Jacob Murphy, the Bracker. For me, he should never play for Newcastle again, in my opinion, right? And McCready had a decent game, right, to be fair. Longstaff wasn't at it, right? Lascelles should never play for Newcastle again, right? And yet, people have looked good at Eddie Howe because of the team selection. Yeah, it wasn't a great team selection, so come on, man. Let's be real. For those, he wants Eddie Howe out, right? Let me ask you, I'm going to ask these people a question. people want Eddie out of your club, right, out of Newcastle United, right, ask yourself one question. Why do you want Eddie Howe out of the club? And also, who do you want to replace him? Carlo Ancelotti? Because I tell you something, you're not leaving Real Madrid to come to Newcastle. Diego Simeone, I'd love to have him. He ain't going to leave Atletico Madrid to come to Newcastle, right? Pep, he ain't going to leave Man City to come to Newcastle, right? But the people who want Eddie Howe to give their flippant head a wobble, right? And I don't know if they're Mackhams. I definitely would call Baba. I don't know if they just made up accounts, sort of thing, Tony, right? But I tell you something, right? Eddie Howe will be our manager for a long, long time. And let me tell you something, right? He's going to win us a trophy in future years. He's going to get us top 4 at the end of the season. And then we see these same people who want Eddie Howe, right? It's going to say exactly the same thing again. I'm forming, Tony. And I'll tell you something now, right? Okay, it's not rattling Eddie, you're rattling that team. Our players have been decent this season, right? And you know what, right? I'm just so sick of our fan base, right? Some of our fan base needs to be real here, okay? Needs to be real, right? And give you his a wobble, right? You have to back Eddie Howe or go to somewhere else because we don't need you.
Yeah, well said.
Sorry,
John.
fellow man.
No,
Sorry,
well
fellow
said,
man.
John. No, absolutely, John. No, well said, mate, because I don't want Eddie Howe going anywhere because I think he's done fantastic. And when I come off my show last night, I read a tweet from a Bournemouth fan. And this Bournemouth fan said, Bournemouth haven't been the same since Eddie Howe left. They've gone through 3 or 4 managers or whatever it was he put on. And he said they need to get rid of Gary O'Neill. And he said, before this club goes down. And that's come from Bournemouth fans saying that since Eddie Howe's left, the club's not been the same. So what does that tell you?
Exactly, absolutely right. Well, obviously, Bournemouth, I mean, he's done Scott Parker getting them up the club, right? And he has done a very good job getting them up to the Premier League. But obviously, the style of football in the Premier League, thinking that Scott Parker wasn't going to make it with Bournemouth. But Gary Parker lost, 5 games? He's been made permanent manager, and that is not good. I think they might think they made a mistake. But one thing I'm going to say, right, that Bournemouth fan come and say a thing like that tells me that Eddie Howe is a fantastic young manager. And I tell you what, he is going to do good things. So our fan base needs to wake up, smell the coffee, right, back him, or just don't support Newcastle United because he has done more in 13 months than Steve Bruce has done in 2.5 years. And the players believe in him. And I'll tell you what, right, so because he made a mess up in the team selection, right, because he lost to Sheffield Wednesday, they want him out, yeah? But don't blame Eddie Howe, blame the players, such as Jacob Murphy, Chris Wood, Sean Longstaff, Jamal Lascelles, Jamal Lewis, who has let him down badly. Tony, I bet you these players must be knocking at Eddie Howe's door, right, saying, I want a game, I want to prove me worth, I want to prove I want to be part of this project, right? And they go out there and put a performance like that, okay, and it was poor. So the players they played with not good enough, get them out, and I'm not talking the summer, get them out in January. Like Pete said, rip out the contracts, terminate the contracts, okay, get them out, bring in quality now, and give Marcus Thuram what he wants, because he is a French international, and he would not have missed that yesterday. There's no way.
No, not at all. I mean, I'll just go to some comments first, John. And
sorry.
No, you're fine, mate. Blakey says, we aren't all glory seekers. Some of us support our local team no matter what. The last 14 years under Ashley would be the test of any fan base. We have stayed loyal. Absolutely, Blakey. Totally agree with you 100%. As I say, I was there through the 80s, and that was a real shit time as well. Like I say, the likes of Stan Seymour, Gordon McKeegan in charge of the club. And it was just thank God that John Hall came in with his Magpie group and said, look, let's get a takeover done. And you know what? That's where our club took off from John Hall.
Thank you.
Rat says, Ches, do you know where we were under Keegan over the League 2, heading for League 3? And then that man rumours from poverty to Champions League in 4 years. No manager's ever done that in history. I'm sure they do, Rat. I mean, the thing is, we all do remember that game. We had to go to Leicester and we got the win. which kept us in Division 2 at the Division 1, because we had the Premier League. And the Premier League was going a year, and then we got in the year later. So, yeah. John says, I've been defending Mud, but I can't defend these last 2 games. No, I totally agree with you, John. Nobody can. That's the thing. Andrew says, John's gone. He's travelling at the moment, I think, so he might come back on. Andrew says, oh, well, need trouble, lads, unless it's a top shelf. Yeah, absolutely. Nate says, I've come off of social media because of idiots on there slagging off players who haven't even played for nearly a year and saying Eddie's past it. They're all idiots. So Nate says, I've come off social media because of the idiots on there slagging off players who haven't played for nearly a year and saying that Eddie's past it. They're all idiots, in my opinion. It's FA Cup. Absolutely. FA Cup. Sheffield Wednesday were up for it. Let's be honest. They could have won that game 4-1. I mean, you look at Jamal Lewis from that throw, and he threw it straight in front of their player. I think it was Liam Palmer who just pushed it past the post. And then Elliot Anderson back pass nearly led to a goal as well. So, we got off the hook there lately. Thankfully, they didn't have their shooting boots on at that time, but they did in the second half. Gary says, you would think the new owners would have the power to rip these contracts up and see you're getting a new one, whether they are like it or not, as Mike Ashley's no longer the owner, Tony. I think, I'm not sure, because that's the problem. It's legal. It's legality. It's binding, isn't it? It's a binding contract. It's like if you buy a house and that house has got a sitting tenant in there and they've got a couple of months left, you can't turf them out of that house. You've got to let that contract run down. So I imagine the same as in anything with contracts. We can't exactly rip that up. We'd have to rip that up with the agreement of the player and the agent. And you've got to go through lawyers. So I think I'm not 100% sure on that one. Although, unless there's anybody in there who knows more about contracts and law and things like that, who's in chat maybe, or who can actually tell us that. But I'm not 100% sure on that, Gary. So I don't want to say yes or no to that. Tanchi says, Tony, I've been banging on about squad depth since the beginning of the season. It's a project over a 5-year vision from Manda Staveley. Until we get rid of League One standard players, we have to accept it. I totally agree with you, Tanji. It's like I said earlier, when the owners came in, Manda Staveley sat there and said this is a 5 to 10 year plan. We are well ahead of that 5 to 10 year plan, and we just got to weed out these players that are not good enough for the club. Chelsea says, Rat, don't assume I don't know the history of my own club. I need a reminder of what KK means to us all. You don't have the monopoly over what you means to support my club. Okay, that's no problem, Ches. Tanji says, Lewis, Lascelles, Richie Wood, Anderson, Murphy, Fraser, all would struggle in League One. Even Anderson has played half a season in League Two at Bristol Rovers. I mean, yeah, he ripped it up in League Two, Anderson, but he hasn't. I know he hasn't had a run of games, but I don't see enough from him that I just don't see enough from Elliot Anderson, unfortunately. As much as I want to see Elliot Anderson improve and do well, I look at it and think, is he actually going to make it yet? And that is the thing. Is he? Blakey says, Keegan, yes, what a time to be alive, but I feel the same way now with Eddie. Yeah, absolutely. Spot on, mate. I mean, we're seeing, the great football we're seeing from Eddie. It's like Keegan-esque, but at least this time we're doing more defending. It's not like, we're going to go out there and score one more than the opposition. We're actually going out there and defending as well, and hence the clean sheets. So, yeah. Jesse is spot on, Blakey. Yep, absolutely. Rat says, Tony, just got to remember, we cleared players out, but most are on loan. We got some of them back in the summer. There's a lot to clear out. Well, Kieran Clark, when he finishes at the end of the season, is out of contract. Matty Longstaff is out of contract at the end of the season. Now he's back at the club because he's got an ACL. But I don't think the club will renew his contract. I think Hendrick's probably got a year left when he comes back. Maybe we talk him into a mutual agreement and send him off somewhere. Maybe Redden might come to some sort of deal and take him on. I don't know. But yeah, we got some players out, but we just got to wait and see. Gary says, I've said before and say again, Eddie Howe could be the next Alex Ferguson, Tony. Absolutely, Gary. I totally agree with that. I just think these fans who are asking for Eddie Howe to go or question his integrity are just a bunch of numpties, and they need to bloody sort ourselves out, because either they need to realise where our club is. I mean, we're not expecting to win the Premier League this season, but we're up there on merit. We're up there because we've played well this season. We've ripped teams apart this season. That is the thing. We had a bad game against Southampton with our full team, but we still beat them 4-1. Wasn't the greatest game, but we won 4-1. We got a valuable point at Arsenal on Tuesday. I mean, that was a massive point. Not only has that dented Arsenal's title hopes, but that's also kept us third in the league as well. If we'd played Arsenal a couple of years ago under Steve Bruce, that Arsenal team on Tuesday would have annihilated us. So, and when do you think progression as well? This is where I'm seeing the progression's coming in. Let's go back last season. Eddie's first game on the touchline was against Arsenal because he had COVID for the Brentford game. We lost 2-0. We went to Spurs in the April. We went 1-0 up and lost 5-1. This season, we went to Spurs. We beat them 2-1. Okay. Also, Arsenal, we got beat last year, but we drew 0-0. That's progression. That is progression. Last season under Cabbage, we lost it. Man United, 4-1. We drew 0-0. That's progression. So for people to turn around and say we're not doing so well under Eddie Howe, then they really, really do need to give themselves a long, hard look at themselves, I'm afraid. Paul says, if ESM refused to travel yesterday, he needs sound as he would have helped out. Apparently he was ill, Paul. It's an illness, and even put a picture on Instagram, took a photo of the TV and said, come on, lads. So clearly he was up for the game. Such a shame he wasn't there, because I think he could have made a difference yesterday. Blakey says, yes, there's a hell of a lot of deadwood we need to get rid of, but it takes time. In an ideal world, we would do it in a heartbeat, but we can't with FFP. Man City had a free reign, and these rules don't exist. Yeah, absolutely, because when Man City were taking over, there was no FFP, so they got away with it. But now there's FFP, we've got to be careful. But I'm sure our owners, as I've always said, they've got the best financial experts. So they'll be looking at this and thinking, right, how much can we realistically spend before we touch FFP? And these experts will be sorting that all out for them. So let's not worry about FFP. We know Eddie says it to the media, but I think he's saying that. He's only just trying to he's just bluffing the media. What he's doing is he's just sort of saying, I'm not going to tell you how much we can spend, because why should he? He doesn't have to. It's got nothing to do with the media, how much money we've got to spend. Gary, most of us agree with you, mate, says Chess. Yeah, absolutely. Newcastle fans on Twitter are a joke. A lot of them are idiots and talk some crap. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Paul. On here, I like to keep things real. Because, as I've said, I talk facts, not fiction. And we've seen some channels or podcasts where people say, oh, this player's coming in, that player's coming in. They don't come in. I wouldn't do that. If we're linked to a player, I'll say we're linked. It's a rumour, but it doesn't mean to say the player's signing. I always try and keep things real if I can. Exactly, Blakey. If memory serves, City were nowhere near where we are now. Since their first season of the takeover, yeah, they weren't, no. Took them 4 years to win the Premier League, didn't it? Rat says the world will just say the world's richest owners team got done by a League One. No one wants Eddie sacked, but they just want him to wake up and see the reserves aren't good. I'm sure Eddie Howe knows the team's not good enough. I'm sure the owners even know that. They probably watched that last night and probably thought, you know what? That team ain't good enough. And they understand that. The owners get this club. That's a difference. The owners get this club. The previous owner just used it as a money bank for himself. You know, so he just wanted to run the club and just claim whatever money he could, like TV rights, you know, where we finished in the league, things like that. That's the only reason he wanted to stay in the Premier League. That was his aim, just to stay 17th at least, just to stay in the Premier League. But them days are over now, so we haven't got to worry about that. Trolls says, hey, Tony. Hey, Trolls, I hope you're well, mate, and hope you're feeling better after yesterday. Blakey says, Man City were as shite as us last season, but they had a pot of gold to do what they wanted from day one. Some of our so-called fans expect us to spend like they did. We can't do that. That's the problem. We can't. Until this club gets on a footing where we're generating our own funds. And this is why we're bringing in these sponsor deals. This is why we want Riddick Store at the end of the season. This is why we need a new front shirt sponsor. That's why Funny 88's been torn up at the end of the season. Because they're bringing very little into the club. So that's where the club needs to be. We've got Saudi Airlines in now. That's a great sponsor to have in the club. We got Monster. That's coming. That's 12 million a season. But then you've got the little ones coming in as well, like Sports Breaks and STC, who do all the digital media. They're all coming in, and they're all like your little £1 million sponsors, £1 million a season, which don't need to go through Premier League approval. They just go under the radar. Man City's got about 100 of them. That's bringing about 100 million in a season to Man City. So that's what you're trying to do at the club, and then you're generating your own funds, and then you're not touching FFP at all. Paul says fans would have moaned if Howe started our best 11 then got beat by Leicester and would have said, oh, Howe shouldn't have played our best 11. That's the thing, Paul. Yeah, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there, mate. I mean, that's what would have happened. And yeah, the problem is you can't please everybody. But what's a better chance? You've got a chance of going into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Or would you rather just go to the fourth round of the FA Cup and lose in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup and then just say, right, okay, that's fine? Well, personally, I would rather go into the Carabao Cup because you don't know who you're going to get in the next round of the FA Cup. So, and it's not a certainty that you're going to get through at the fifth round of the FA Cup. So, yeah, it's just options that we haven't got at the moment. If we'd had Kraft, Target and Shelby, it would have been useful yesterday, but nobody's fault they're injured. Yeah, absolutely. Mine, to be fair, I thought Manquillo had a good game yesterday. I didn't think he played too bad at all on both right and left flank. So out of them, he comes out with credit. And to be fair, I didn't think Richie was too bad, if I'm honest. I thought he was all right. His delivery wasn't too bad from set plays. Just nobody getting on the end of them. That was the only problem. Trolls, can we recycle wood? Yeah, well, yeah. Let's hope. Leslie says, afternoon all. Looking at the chat, seems like I've missed something. We'll catch up later. Yeah, thanks very much, Leslie. And Troll says, oh yeah, Murphy can take a train to wherever as long as it's not Newcastle. Yeah, true. Very, very true. I agree with everything John said there, Tony. Yeah, Gary, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. We're just sick of people. I mean, why do people want rid of Eddie Howe? I just don't get it. I really, really don't get it. And I would love to know what their thought process is and why they think we need another manager. Because who's going to come in and carry on what Eddie Howe's doing? Eddie Howe is here for a long time. He's not here for the short term. Before the Forest game, he signed a new contract the day before. And it was a long-term contract. Nobody knows what the contract is. Nobody knows how long it's for. We're all surmising it's probably about a 4-year deal, but we don't know how long that contract's for. But what we do know is Eddie Howe is very well respected in that squad. Even Bruno's come out and said Eddie Howe is a brilliant manager. And no disrespect to Bruno, he probably didn't even know who Eddie Howe was before he came to the club. He'd probably not even heard much of Eddie Howe. He's probably had to Google him on Wikipedia and look at what he's done in his career to see what he's done before he even joined the club. So, but when you got players like Bruno coming out and praising Eddie Howe, that just shows you. And that team want to play for Eddie Howe as well, by the way. Blakey says, time will come when we splash the cash massively with huge sponsorship deals. It's all about the revenue, create hours, and it's non-existent compared to the big six. We'll catch up. We will do, yeah. That's why once our club was taken over, you had the likes of Leicester City, who were probably one of the biggest hypocrites, and I'm sorry, I'm going to call Leicester out as one of the biggest hypocrites in the league for it. They wanted this fought so they could change the way sponsorship deals come in, because they knew the Saudis were going to bring in huge sponsorship deals, and they didn't want that, Leicester. But they've got short memories, because King Power used to be on their shirts. That's their company that their owners own, and the stadium's called King Power after their owners. And so Leicester, that's an own goal from yourselves, by the way. But we will get these sponsorships in, and when they do come in, this club will be generating a lot of funds, and it will be moving on up, that's for sure. Tanji says, Lewis, Isak, Manquillo, Dubravka, Anderson, the Cells hardly kicked a ball in competitive matches all season past year. Let's be realistic, they had to utilise yesterday. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, going into the game, I mean, yes, it was disappointing. We've lost to Sheffield Wednesday. We've lost to a League One team for the second year in a row in the third round of the FA Cup. And, and the same referee, unfortunately, as well. But first half, we did all right. Yes, Isak had a couple of chances. Yes, he's not been in since September. Do I criticise him for the first one, for the header? Maybe he could have done better with that. Maybe it was straight at the goalkeeper, but the keeper still had to save it. But nonetheless, it was on target. On target. Second shot he hit, that was on target as well, which the keeper saved. Free kick, we don't know what he was doing with that. Fair enough. Eddie Anderson had a shot, saved by the keeper. That was when we were 1-0 down at the time. I mean, their keeper played well. Cameron Dawson, he pulled off some good saves for the team. And, at the end of the day, we got beat. I mean, it's just... I mean, where do we start? I mean, the first goal... Okay, fair enough. It could have been offside, but it would have been offside, but there was no VAR, so they got away with that. Hence, we got away with ours because ours was offside, but there was no VAR for that either. But I mean, for the second goal that Josh Windus got onto, Joe Litton headed the ball down. They passed it through towards Windus. Now, could this guy, Jamal Lascelles, have cut that ball out to stop it going to Windus? If he'd been switched on, possibly he would have stopped that, and that would have stopped them getting that second goal. So, in some ways, I could say sort of Lascelles maybe a little bit of fault for them getting that second goal. If I'm being a bit critical on him, then let me know. But by what I could see, I think Lascelles was to blame for that. But yeah, all in all, yes, we brought the big guns on. We tried, we got a goal back, but we just couldn't get that second goal. Even if we got the equaliser and brought back to St James's, that would have been fantastic. But you know what? Let's say well-deserved to Sheffield Wednesday because they played well. Proper old-fashioned cup tie at an old-fashioned ground in Hillsborough. And yes, we lost to them. Yes, we're out the cup. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for us because we're not having to worry about now having to be in 3 competitions. Let's go on to Tuesday. Let's have the full squad back on Tuesday, which I'm sure they will do. Let's get out there. Let's beat Leicester. Let's get in the semi-finals. See who we get in the semi-finals. Whether we get either of the Manchester clubs or Nottingham Forest or Wolves. Preferably prefer Nottingham Forest or Wolves. And then let's see if we can get to the final of the Carabao Cup and see if we can win it. And that's all we can do. And then see where we finish in the league. But it just proved last night we do not have strength and depth. And that is something we saw last night. Murphy is shocking. I've said this for a long time about Jacob Murphy. And I've heard some people, oh, he's improving. He's improving. Where's he improved? Because I don't see no improvement. The guy's at his peak, or he's past his peak. He's just useless. I'm sorry. And he got a new contract a few years ago off Mike Ashley for 6 years. What? His contract doesn't run out for another 4 years. I mean, it's just stupidity giving contracts to players like that who are not good enough. Maybe he's championship standard, but he's certainly not Premier League standard, Jacob Murphy, that's for sure. But obviously, while he's here, we have to back them. But just absolutely poor. I mean, why didn't he lob the keeper properly? And when he did put it over, he just couldn't get anywhere near it. It was just like, honestly, it's not right. Chris Wood, yes, he missed that sitter. That was a hell of a howler, what Chris Wood missed. I mean, he had the goal really at his mercy. If he'd hit that on target and the keeper had saved it, then at least you say fair enough, it was on target. But it went way over the crossbar. And just poor in my eyes. Just really poor. Let's get into some more comments. Joel says one have to stop using mud as a name for yeah. Rat says John, fans are fickle, but you can't tell fans. Yeah, he's talking to John on that one. Okay. Chelsea says really worries me that the more sensible supporters are not those who make the most noise. It leaves an inaccurate assessment of what the true supporters want, and the vast majority of us are grateful for. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I said before the season, although one of my predictions has gone already, so that's fine. But before the season start, I did say I would like to see us finish in 7th place in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, which that's gone now, so that prediction's gone. And I said win the Carabao Cup. Now we're still in that. So I don't think they were unrealistic. I just thought I'll just give them as a prediction at the start of the season, and we're not far off at the moment. Howe had a howler yesterday, but that will happen. I mean, when Man U was their peak, they were beaten by Championship or League One team from one of the cups. Yeah, I mean, go back to George Graham for Arsenal. They had Seaman, Dixon, Steve Bold playing for them. They got beat off Wrexham. Mickey Thomas scored at the racecourse ground. Shocks happen in the FA Cup. That's the beauty of it. Shocks happen. Forest got hammered by Blackpool yesterday 3-0. Shocks happen. Coventry City got beat off Wrexham 4-3 at home. Shocks happen. Wrexham won on league, by the way. So shocks do happen in the World Cup, and that's the beauty of the FA Cup. Sorry, the beauty of the FA Cup is shocks do happen. How couldn't do now against offside goal? There's nothing you can do about it. When there's no VAR, that's it. You're stuffed. How did Howe have a howler? Says Paul. Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think he did. It wasn't his fault. He had to rest his players. That's the problem. He had to rest them players. And then from resting those players, he had to play a different team altogether, and it didn't work. Simple as. And it just proved how bad those players are. Would those players be good enough for Champions League? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. None of them that played, well, some of them that played yesterday would have been, but some of them wouldn't be. Is Lascelles good enough for Champions League? No. Is Lewis good enough for Champions League? No. Wood? No. I could reel them off. But yeah, we all know who aren't good enough for Champions League. I mean, I had high hopes when Jamal Lewis joined us because we beat Liverpool to his signature because Liverpool didn't want to pay the little bit extra. But maybe the reason Lewis looks a shadow of the player he was when he was at Norwich might be down to Mr. Cabbage Head again, Steve Bruce, because Steve Bruce has destroyed a lot of careers of players at our club, and that is the thing. You look at Longstaff. Before Steve Bruce came, He was flying. Man United wanted to pay 50 million for him. Why didn't we sell him at the time? Because no, we had a world beater on our hands. But enter the fray Mr. Bruce, and I'm going to play the Bruce ball. And you're going to start getting bruised. And that's exactly what happened to a lot of players, including Almiron, including Joe Linton. They were all bruised, all cabbage head under him. Rat says, Chaz, if our fans watch Eddie's training video from last year, they would see Tatley's one of the best managers in that league. Exactly. That is exactly what he is. Leslie says, well said, Chaz. Started going to St. James in 1969. A lot of ups and downs, but I'm grateful for everything Eddie's doing. Yeah, absolutely, Leslie. Absolutely brilliant. Troll says, too many changes and it backfired. Yeah, you can't terminate a player for breach of... Can you terminate for breach of duties? I don't think so. Although we had the ideal time to get rid of Eddie... not Eddie Howe, Alan Pardew when he headbutted David Myler against Hull. Mike Ashley could have said gross misconduct out the door, but didn't, did he? Troll says, I want Howe to stay, and that's so clear. Yeah, absolutely. To be honest with you, it's a minority of the fan base who are saying they want rid of Eddie Howe. And why they're saying it, I do not know. They need their heads read. Eddie Howe has done a hell of a lot to this club since he's been here in just over a year. Remember, he's only been here 14, 15 months. And what that guy's achieved at this club is nothing short of phenomenal. And if anybody wants to question Eddie Howe's integrity, then they really need to give themselves a long, hard look at themselves. And I'm telling you that now. Because I don't want Eddie Howe gone. I would be absolutely devastated if we sacked Eddie Howe. Because the guy has been absolutely fantastic. The owners won't sack him because they know he's doing a great job. It's just not his fault. He's got shit on that bench that are not good enough to wear the shirt of Newcastle United. And that is the thing. They are not good enough. Lascelles isn't good enough. He needs to go. Wood, yes, he does need to go as well. As does Jacob Murphy, as does Jamal Lewis, as does Matt Ritchie. Matt Ritchie's been a fantastic servant, by the way. He's done very well for this club. Yes, he's getting on a bit in age now, and yes, the legs are starting to go. But, at least he's got a bit of commitment about Matt Ritchie. But the other ones, just get rid. But we can't just get rid because you've got to buy the replacements first before you get rid of them. And until we get them replacements, they're at this club to stay for now. But don't worry, guys, because eventually the replacements will come. These players will be eked out the club and they'll be gone and never to be seen in the black and white shirt again. So, yeah, that's my rant. Sorry, guys, for the rant, but I just thought I had to say that. Paul says, not really. We have a bigger match Tuesday. I can imagine if we started the best 11. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. Mark says, I don't believe this one bit that any Newcastle fans would say that any other fans sack Eddie. They're just trying to stir their shit. No other manager could do what he's done for the team. Absolutely, Mark. That's what I'm saying. It's say that it's probably Mackems or people just making up fake accounts just to wind Newcastle fans up. And you know what? I don't take the bait. I don't go on there and shout back at them because I just look at them and think, idiots. That's what they are, idiots. If Eddie Howe doesn't get Manager of the Year this year in the Premier League, I'll be very surprised because he should have got it last year. How on earth could Klopp get it last year? I'm sorry, it should have been Eddie Howe last year for the job he'd done. We had won in 14 games. We got our first win. He kept us up. It's never been done before. He kept us up. And for that man at Liverpool who mourns like fuck every game and runs up and down the touchline just like Arteta does, like a bloody baby, and yet he gets Premier League Manager of the Year. Yet Eddie Howe does a big job at Newcastle by keeping us in the Premier League, but that's not deemed fit enough to be Manager of the Year. Well, that big six, as they're so called. But that big six will soon be the Super 7, and we'll be the top of that tree, and we certainly will be. And Eddie will be the man at the wheel. Brady says, I have to disagree. I think Eddie did the right thing with the selection game on Tuesday as a priority. The squad can't compete on three fronts. Yeah, Too right, Blakey, they can't. We proved it yesterday, we can't do it. Rat says a player can have a contract terminated if he breaks the rules of the club of these contracts. Yeah, it would be some like gross misconduct, and none of them have done that. Might be that Howe don't care about the FA Cup, true, Paul. Who knows? All good, Ches. One good thing it shows Eddie who to keep and who to get rid of. Yeah, absolutely, John. And the thing is, Eddie Howe knows who to get rid of. He knows the crap that's in that club. But that's because it's been there from the Ashley era. And that is the problem. I mean, a few years ago, Chelsea wanted to pay 50 million quid for Lascelles. Why the hell didn't we sell him? Jesus. We should have just said to Chelsea, yeah, give her the money, you can have him. But no, we kept him. I think that was when we came back up from the Championship, and he was absolutely brilliant that season for us. Mark says if Newcastle sacked Eddie would go straight to Chelsea. Or Chelsea would go for Eddie, and Everton would do the same. Yeah, absolutely. Leslie says, looking at the comments here and elsewhere, maybe yesterday has broken our emotional connection to certain players, therefore less issues when they're moved on. Yeah, absolutely. Why on earth did Newcastle sack Eddie? Yeah, well, why would they sack Eddie? Absolutely. Yeah. They've got no reason to. No reason to. Sack Eddie for one? No. Gary says Leeds would have destroyed us as well, Tony. Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're talking about under Bruce, yeah, they would have. Well, they did under Bruce, didn't they? They destroyed us scoring 5 goals, didn't they? Leslie says, Ches, I just don't get it. Yeah, totally. Blakey says, going away and not just sitting behind the ball with 20% possession at all teams, refreshing. It's to go and win now, it's chalk and cheese from the Bruce ball. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, it's just, I just don't get why some of our fans are just questioning Eddie Howe. I really don't. And I mean, if we look at yesterday's game, and you look at the stats on the game yesterday, which I'll come up with now. I mean, possession-wise, we had 75% possession. We had 22 shots to their 9 shots. We had 7 on target, we scored with 1. They had 4 on target, which they scored with 2. We had 11 corners to their 1. They had 17 fouls compared to 8 from us. So we had the majority of the possession. Unfortunately, possession does not win you a game. Putting the ball in the back of the net wins you the game. But you're right what you're saying, Blakey. We are better now because we are not sitting behind the ball at 20%. We don't do things like what Leeds did on last Saturday when they packed 11 behind the ball and just parked the bus. I mean, that was absolutely disgusting, that. And then the manager coming out at the end saying, he was really ambitious at the end, Jesse March, saying, oh yeah, well, that's what we got. We got the point we wanted. We came for a point. If that's all your ambition is, then you shouldn't be a manager. Rats, I honestly think there's something about ESM ain't right. We know he's been fit all season, no injuries. I don't think Eddie likes him or his attitude. He has been out injured. Again, if there's any disagreement, I mean, this is rumours that was sent on Twitter and from a podcast yesterday, and then it was sent all around the thing that Eddie wasn't, that ESM wasn't travelling. But then rumours went out that he's supposed to be at Spurs ground and that he was had a fallout with Eddie. Look, we don't know what's going on. If he's playing on Tuesday, maybe because he's had the illness. But is Eddie Howe going to stand in front of the cameras and say, actually, me and ESM have had a punch-up and we're not happy? No, he's not. Things like that stay behind closed doors. If there has been a disagreement, they'll sort it out behind the scenes. If there hasn't been a disagreement, he'll be in the team on Tuesday. Depending if he's fit again. So I think when rumours start circulating, just take them with a pinch of salt, because nobody knows what's going on. And these people who come on claiming that in the knows, and there's plenty of them here on Twitter, and there's some of them on podcasts do it as well, think they're in the know. Well, they're not in the know. They know nothing. They know nothing. If anybody on Twitter puts on, saying I'm in the know, I know this player's coming in, just laugh at them and think, yeah, whatever. Don't even respond to them, because they know nothing. The club don't leak nothing. So if the club don't leak nothing, how do they know? That's what I can't understand. Paul says this season we will potentially be in Europe. We've had a good League Cup run. Maybe it's a final on the cards. If this happens, this will have been the best season for a very long time. I'm with you on that, Paul. I totally agree with you, mate. I mean, it's exactly what I'm saying. You know, we've had progression already this season from what we were doing last season. Just remember where we were last January. We weren't in the Carabao Cup. We got beaten that round, the first round of that Carabao Cup by Burnley that we went into. We were out the FA Cup and this time last year, and we were sitting second bottom in the Premier League. This season, we're in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. We're third in the Premier League, and yes, we're out the FA Cup again at the same stage. Who cares? To be honest with you, look where we are. How much has that progressed in 12 months? That is one hell of a progression. And that's why I'm saying if Eddie Howe isn't manager of the year at the end of the season, then there's something drastically wrong in this Premier League. Joel says ESM was injured earlier for 2 to 3 months. Yeah, he was, absolutely. I hardly use Twitter. It's handy, just get the team sheet. Yeah, definitely. Knight says, we won't know who we're signing until they sign. Simples. Absolutely. Till they stand there with a Newcastle shirt on and the scarf above their head saying, welcome to St James's Park, then they haven't signed. Yes, we can look at rumours, we can look at people are linked with us, but that link in a rumour does not mean they are signing. It just means that's exactly what it is. It's a link and it's a rumour. It is nothing else. It is not concrete until we see that player in St James's Park. Or you see the little yellow ticker going along Sky Sports News. Chaz says, Les, precisely, he's got everything. Yeah, talking to Leslie. People talking to each other there. Paul says, sure, I saw fans slating Isak yesterday, even though it's his first game back in months. Again, I don't understand that one, because Isak's just come back from a long layoff. I thought he did all right for what he'd done for 45 minutes, and it was all about getting minutes in his legs. And that's the thing, we've got to build his match fitness up. And he'll play a part on Tuesday. He might not start on Tuesday. He may come on as a sub. I don't know. It depends how Eddie sees it. But, you know, just got to give the lad a chance, get him back to full fitness, get him back to full match fitness, and this guy will thrive. And I believe he will bang a lot of goals in before the end of the season, that's for sure. Without a shadow of a doubt. Guys, if you like what you see, please hit the like button. It does help the channel up the search results. Also, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so, helps the channel grow, and also bell notification tells you when I've got a live show, a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. Let's get back into some more comments, because there's lots of them. Troll says, indeed, Chess, I'm talking. He lost his 10 games in a row, then yeah, I can't see that happening either, Trolls. Jules is in. Peeps. Hi, Jules. Hope you're well. Not a great result, was it, yesterday? But you know what? We've still got a Carabao Cup quarter-final to go on Tuesday, and we've still got top 4 to fight for. And Chess talking to Trolls. Paul says, when we win on Tuesday, this will all be forgotten about and those fickle fans will go back into hiding. Do you know what, Paul? You're absolutely right, mate. Yeah, that's the thing. It's all about bounce back ability. And bounce back ability has to happen on Tuesday. And it will happen on Tuesday because I'm pretty sure we'll beat Leicester. It'll be an interesting game, but we're at home and it's under the lights as well. Right, next comment, Davey. We need to keep homegrown players in the squad, and as you know, the very best cost the most, so hence we keep the ones we have until the future. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. People talking to Jules. Rat says we just need the big Nike deal or Adidas deal and the big stadium sponsor. That's how Arsenal managed to pay plus the £100 a ticket pays for their top sponsors. Well, we need a bigger stadium. Well, I don't think we'll go down the road of charging supporters £100 to go and watch a match, because that'll be absolutely diabolical if we do, and that'll be pricing people out of watching football. But we got Peter Silverstone, who we got from Arsenal, commercial guy, who got Arsenal that big £30 million a year Adidas deal for their shirts. He could do the same for us, and I'm sure he will get the best in, and the club will want the best. So we'll see how that pans out. Seems the keeper saved these teams. The same happened last year. Well, when a keeper from a League One team comes up against a Premier League team, they'll want to excel in that game. They want to try and have the best game possible, because they want to show the world that they're a great keeper. Plus, they want to look great that they've saved against Premier League players as well. So that's the difference. And they always just seem to be inspired, don't they? And I always go back, it always reminds me, I mean, back in the Keegan days when we were in the what is now the Championship. But yeah, when we played Grimsby, we had won 10 in a row. Grimsby came to St James's Park at that game. Grimsby came to St James's Park. Dave Besant was on loan from Chelsea, who played for us, and we sold him to Chelsea because he wasn't that great for us. And that day, everything, Besant saved everything. We threw the kitchen sink at him. Nothing would go in. Absolutely nothing. Every shot he saved. And claimed every ball, saved every shot. And then it was about the 90th minute. Jim Dobbin, I always remember the name. He popped up from about 25 yards out, bang, top corner, ended that streak. And but if it wasn't for Besant that day, we could have beat Grimsby about 5 or 6-0, if I'm honest with you. And yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Keepers seem to just want to do so well against the bigger sides, and that's what happens. Troll says Lascelles should go as well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lascelles didn't even do the interview after the game. Kieran Trippier did. Once Lascelles goes, Trippier will be club captain without a shadow of a doubt. Fans should watch a post-match conference between Bruce and Eddie. The difference is professionalism. No one should forget Eddie is class. Absolutely, John. I like Eddie Howe's press conferences and post-match conferences because he's more measured. Bruce is just an idiot. And as for, if we go as far back to JFK, if everybody remembers him, Joe Kinnear, do you remember that 50-word swearing rant he had at the press? Absolutely embarrassing. And that guy is just an embarrassment anyway. We all remember the young kebab in Charles Insomnia. I mean, that guy was just in total embarrassment of football. Thank God he retired from it. Leslie says, regarding the players yesterday, I appreciate that not all have the skills level of our first team, but there's no excuse for lack of fitness. Thought a few were blown by half time. Yeah, they were. I mean, that's why he took Isak off, didn't he? Just give him a rest. And Joel says the players yesterday should beat a League One team, though. Should do, but we didn't, and that's the problem. John says the Owls played well. Yes, they did. They played very well and got what they deserved. And giving it to Josh Windus to score, not being funny, he'd just come off the back of scoring a hat-trick against Cambridge on Bank Holiday Monday. So, the guy's on form. He's in a hot streak at the minute, and he got 2 yesterday. And remember, his dad weren't a bad striker either, Dean Windus. Jules says, a player such as Lascelles and Ritchie have done their part for our club. We all know the time has come, but I wish them well. No ill will. But then we continue our build the right way. I totally agree with you. Jules, absolutely. Just got to get rid of these. Yeah, just seen them. I don't know if that's Chip as again, but I've blocked them now, so it won't be back on Ches. Rat says in any club, it's proven fact. Big players bring in big sponsors. Europe, yeah, exactly. European rewards are brilliant, and yeah, we all know that, and that's what we need. It will happen. Yeah, thanks, Jules. I've just got rid of them. Watch Sheffield getting away tight to City in the next round, lol. Yeah, well, that's probably what will happen. They'll probably get a big team, and you know what? Fair play. Troll says Murphy has never been good. Never seen anything from him that makes me want him. Yeah, and I know he's a Geordie, but can't keep him on that merit. I mean, look what's happened to his brother. His brother Josh Murphy. He was a huge talent as well at Norwich. He went to Cardiff City. Had an okay season in the Premier League with Cardiff. Not too bad. He looked a bit better than his brother Jacob, to be fair. Now he's playing his trade at Oxford United in League One. So that shows you how far he's fallen as well. Ches, so state and say, so saying you're doing well, but they've gone now, Ches. I've just blocked them out, mate. So yeah, they won't be back. Honestly, I like to see a few more South Americans come in. Argentina, Brazil kids, they're hungry. Unlike our kids who are spoiled, South Americans have one option in life: football. Well, we are linked to a player from Argentina, Alan Varela. We just got to wait and see what happens with that. And that, I stress that it's only a link and a rumour. It's not that he's signing or anything. If we sign him, be a great signing. If he doesn't come, fair enough. Paul says, I might have to sign up to one of those and see if it brings me any luck. Oh, God. Ches likes that one. Oh, God. Bit harsh, a sweeping statement saying all our kids are spoilt under a coach like Howe or Pep. They won't stand for it. No, they won't. Absolutely right, Jules. I mean, look at Phil Foden. And I think, is it Rico Lewis or somebody? I think he's got coming through a right back. It's City. I mean, they've got some tremendous young players there. And you're right. Eddie Howe wouldn't stand for it either. If we go out the cup Tuesday, says Rat, it'll not be like we ain't tried asking as players give their all, especially. Difference is, if we go out the cup on Tuesday, if we did, then at least we can see we've gone out, we've tried, and we've had a close game with Leicester. But we'll have a full strength team back, so it'll be a totally different game to what it was yesterday. Tony, League Cup don't get Europa no more. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. But do you know what? It doesn't matter, because even if you win the League Cup, it's a bit of silverware in your trophy cabinet. And it's a great start. It's a major trophy at the end of the day. You know, the FA Cup's a major trophy, the League Cup's a major trophy, Premier League's a major trophy. So getting a trophy is what we all crave for, and that's what we all want to get. Seeing our squad, and if we can't spend a big amount this summer, I think we shouldn't be in the UCL. We need more depth, in my opinion, but won't be mad if we get UCL. Or no, absolutely not. That says, yeah, Tony, I see rumours of a Noah from Lyon. He's the same as Bruno, but 7 million, I'll take him. Yeah, I mean, he is a class player. Let's not forget he is a class player. He's just had he's had some rough times there, I think, but yeah, he is a class player and another addition to the squad. But we wait and see on development and see what happens. It was 4-1. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, bloody hell. Jesus, I thought it was 3-0. The last time I saw them were winning 3-0, and I thought, oh, well, that was game over. So, cheers for that, Gary. Tanji says, when you scout players, you scout them over a period of time. With Steve Bruce, it was probably a few good games Lewis had for Norwich, flash in the pan to speak. Yeah. I mean, Klopp wanted him as well, but didn't want to pay more than 10 million for him, apparently. We paid 15. Honestly, I think we can get the best out of most players mentally. I don't think we need some attack coaches because we don't have any. I'm not really sure on that one. We have got good coaching staff there. Eddie's got his own backroom staff and he trusts them 100%. Spot on analysis on Lewis and Longstaff, mate. Cheers, John. Thank you very much. Trolls talking to Tangi. Howe has achieved more points in a year than Keegan and Sir Bobby, says Paul. Yeah, he has. Absolutely. I mean, he's in that list, isn't he? In the Premier League list for points achieved. I mean, look at the points he's achieved this season in a year. Absolutely fantastic. Howe had an impossible task to balance the Arsenal and 2 cup games. He could never have played full strength in all. Those Howe comments aren't worth wasting our energy on. Some people are only happy if mourning. I totally agree with you, Jules. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous the way people are going on, and they really do need to give their heads a shake, I'm afraid. David Knight, with a Mike Ashley team, you'll get Mike Ashley results. Yeah, you've said it there, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of that team were Mike Ashley-esque, and yeah, that's the problem. He didn't invest in that. That's why the club was in such a bad way when the new owners came in. And they probably realised it was a big challenge, but didn't realise until they actually saw them players and thought, what the hell are these? Richie's not good enough for the Prem, in my opinion. He isn't anymore. He's getting on a bit now, and yeah. I like coffee. Hi, Tony Noel. Hi, I like coffee. Hope you're well, mate. Jules says, perspective, and patience. Spot on, Jules. Absolutely 100%. That says, Tony, if you need to calm down about Eddie Howe, hate click, it's always going to happen. Some people blame everyone but the club. Players just agree standards low after the first 11. Yeah, I know you're saying calm down about Eddie Howe, but look, I was right what I'm saying. I just can't understand why people are saying things like that. And I just think Eddie Howe is a fantastic manager. He's done brilliant for us, and long may it continue. And that's the message I was trying to get out there. You're allowed to critic Howe for the match, yes, Dave, but that doesn't mean people want him out, though. Yeah, you can say Howe maybe got his selection wrong. Some people can say that. And you know what? That's what football's about. It's about opinions at the end of the day. And people have the right to their own opinions. And I respect anybody's opinions. If somebody says something, if I say something and somebody doesn't agree with it, I'm not going to shout back at them and say, oh, well, I don't care if you don't agree with what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I respect anybody's opinions. That's what football's about. That's why it's such a great game, because it's all about opinions. Leslie says, Grand Jules, talking to Jules. Rat says, I fear the scouts signed our players under Ashley. They're still signing Woodshaw. Not like I'd see a top scout come in to help us find top talent. We've got with Scout anyway, and we Steve Nixon, who's still here from the Ash era, and the new owners apparently like him, and he's pretty good, so I don't know. I like Coffee says, I think a lot of Chris Wood supporters have grown tired of him, me included. Yeah, I think so as well. No, Jules, just YouTube, can't stand the nastiness. Yeah. That says, Tony, there's no top 6, they're just Newcastle. There's just Newcastle there. Our owners have 10 times the wealth of everyone in the Prem. In the league, they're just in 5 years. They're just us in 5 years. I mean, yeah, okay, they are, but if they've been there for a reason, they've won trophies. That's the difference. But we'll get our day. We'll start winning trophies, and when we do, we will be showing a few teams up, that's for sure. Gary says, well, not in the cause of Newcastle United, but maybe in a Notts County shirt along. Not sure what that was. Chris Wood's more like Chris Wood, I shoulda, coulda. Yeah, absolutely. Read the whole message, Tony, I said. He'll know to it. I can't remember which message that was. Love what Eddie has done to our club and long may it continue. Absolutely, trolls. Absolutely, mate. 100%. LA Coffee. Yesterday's players who needed to move on got found out. They did. Absolutely. Gary says, every time the cameras looked at Eddie, you could tell he wasn't happy, Tony. Yeah, you could see it on his face. He wasn't happy at all, Eddie Howe wasn't. And he said that team should have gone out there and scored. And we had chances to score and we missed too many good opportunities. Murphy, Anderson, Wood, all missed chances. Peter says, we just need a strong squad. We need to be able to replace quality with quality. Absolutely, mate. I totally agree 100%. Joel says, funniest thing after Arsenal match, the fans were complaining we put 3 players on Saka and Xhaka. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. And because the reason we did that was because in the first few minutes you could see Burn was struggling against the pace of Saka. So we need to sort that out. And that's exactly what we did. And there's nothing wrong with that. What do they expect? That's what I couldn't understand with the Arsenal fans going on. It's like they expect that they're allowed to just score a goal every game at home and win every home game. Well, sorry, it doesn't work like that. Chelsea says, so we are linked with Brereton from Blackburn. Can't remember his last name. Brereton Diaz. Ben Brereton Diaz. He used to just be known as Ben Brereton, but when he was at Forest and went to Blackburn. But because I think it's his mother who's Chilean. So he added Diaz to the end of his name, and he plays for Chile as well. And he's not got a bad strike rate for Chile either. I think it's every 1 in 3 for Chile. So yes, he'd be a great player to have on the bench, an impact player. It's another striker. You'd probably get him for about 10 million, I reckon. Not sure what contract he's got left though, but I'd have to check that one out. But yeah, he's not a bad striker of the ball. Well, especially he plays for the Chilean side as well. He must be pretty good. Because they've had some good players in the past, Chile. Tell you what he's got on contract, Ben Brereton. His contract's out in the summer this year, actually. So, yeah, you'd probably get him on the cheap because his contract's up for renewal. This season, he's done 26 games, scored 9 goals, and got 4 assists. So, not too bad. Last year and 2 years ago in Copa America, started 3 games, scored 1 goal. So there you go, 1 goal in every 3 and 1 assist. But he played 5 in total. So he's not, yeah. And in the World Cup qualifiers, 7 games, 3 goals, and no assists. But yeah, so he's not bad at scoring goals. He's a goal scorer. So yeah. And Eddie Howe again would probably get the best out of him. And the guy's 23-year-old. So he's got a lot of time to improve as well, improve his game so yeah, if that's an option, then why not? In Eddie Howe we trust. How are Liverpool, a Premier League club, if their staging cameras aren't working, need to bought into League 2? I wasn't aware of that. Oh God, that's not great, is it? Rat says, wingers are the weakest area of the season. Every top side has a goal scoring winger. We have Miggy form, then out of form, but he tried, but we need to. Again, it's the positions that we're going to have to start strengthening. Rat says, unless your name is Newcastle Director of Football, you don't know anything. Scouts report to him and he signs players with Eddie. Pick where he needs improvements. I mean, Dan Ashworth, he's very good. We know what he's like in South America. Look what he's done. Look what he's done at Brighton. Look at Casido. Look how good a player he is. Look at McAllister. He's just come off the back of a brilliant World Cup. You know, that guy is class. And he said he doesn't want to go in the January window. He's happy to stay at Brighton. But I think in the summer there's going to be a clamour for his signature, and he isn't going to go cheap either. Gary says, ESM put a tweet yesterday saying he was unwell, that's why he wasn't at the game. Yeah, absolutely. I saw that last night. It was an Instagram post I think he put out. Charles says, Isaac showed his quality and think what will happen is if we have all the best players on, he will get the through balls. He didn't get many yesterday, though. No, he didn't, no. Jules says, we nearly got relegated last year. We are top 4, still in the latter stage of the cup. Howie, man, that's incredible. Absolutely, Jules. That's exactly what I was saying. Look at the progression we've made. This time last year, second bottom of the league. This year, fast forward a year, we are top 3 and in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. What more could we ask for? Troll says, some people refuse to believe House saying ESM is ill and didn't believe ESM's tweet either. So what is wrong with these people? If it's true, then okay, but I won't believe it till the club or Eddie says it. Yeah, absolutely. If there's any truth in it, something will come out. But to be honest with you, I just think it's a lot of hearsay and just people are just getting on the high horse over nothing, or somebody's just starting to Chinese whisper off, and it's just getting to the stage where it's getting worse and worse, and people need to just pipe down a bit, I think, in my opinion. He said he was ill, simple as, absolutely. Jules says, some people live for conspiracies. Yes, they do, Jules, I totally agree. ESM misses a game through illness, witness the half-time fan base and their conspiracies. Again, it's all, as I say, it's the ITKs, the in the knows, who think they know everything, but know FE. Absolutely nothing. They know not a thing. Exactly, Trolls. I think some people are perpetually addicted to drama. Yeah, you've said it there, Ches. Absolutely. Richard Carwell, hey, just come across your channel and subscribed and liked. I follow quite a few of that channels. A Toon Review, Rubenstein, Newcastle Fans TV. Keep it up, man. Richard, thank you very much, mate. I will do, mate. Thank you so much. That means a lot. And yeah, fantastic, mate. And yeah, great to have you on board, man. Thank you very much, mate. And yeah, give us your thoughts on yesterday's game in the chat as well, mate. Paul says it's quite deceiving at times when there's a lot of shots at them. They're mostly easy saves. Any shot going left, right corner with composure, he's probably not going to save it. Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. Jules says Sheffield Wednesday played exceptional yesterday. Yeah, they did. They had a great game, Julie J. And do you know what? They deserved the win. And do you know what? Good luck to them in the next round. Yesterday, yes, I was disappointed that we got beat again by a League One side. But you know what? You reflect on that, you think about it, you get up the next morning and you sit back and you think, do you know what? Now the dust has settled, yeah, we weren't that great yesterday. And but you're absolutely spot on. Welcome, Richard. This is like our baby sister channel to TTR and John's channel. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Everybody talking to each other there. Paul's reaction when Wood missed that chance. Oh, I haven't seen it. I'm going to have a watch of it on his watch along. I'll have to go and have a look. Because I know what Paul would be like. He's a great guy as well, by the way, as Paul. So is Billy as well. And Alex and Danielle. They're all top people on there. And obviously John Sinclair's top guy as well. Gary, as much as I hate to say, Steve Bruce is a rich idiot. Yeah. And believe it or not, Gary, apparently Portsmouth are looking at taking him on as their next manager. I really feel sorry for them fans of Fratton Park because they're going to have to watch the Bruce ball. We'll get them out of the division, but it might not be the way they want to go. It might be the opposite way, down to League Two. Julie says, Murphy, Lascelles, Dubs not good enough. No, they weren't yesterday. I mean, Dubravka didn't have a lot to do. He did do a couple of saves, but Don't think he could do much with a goal, especially the second one. I mean, that was well taken, that. I just thought a lot of players were rusty yesterday, if I'm honest. Paul says, Murphy for me is always in two minds, never makes a clear decision. That's why never any aggression either. It looks like a rabbit caught in the headlights, yeah. I mean, when he done that little lob, he sort of looked and thought, how do I do this? And it's like, just have the confidence, just go for it, hit the target, hit the bloody target. That's all we want. If the keeper saves it, but at least you've hit the target, where if it goes over the bar, past the posts, then it's not on target and you've not given the keeper a chance. But just have the shots on target. That's what we want to see. Julie says, obviously, the traffic cone from New Zealand, not good enough. Yeah. I think he was playing for the All Blacks yesterday because he must have thought he was playing rugby union for a minute and then realised he's playing football. Can't see Eddie putting out a second string on Tuesday. No, I don't think he will, Julie. It'll be a full-strength team and we will be going for that game on Tuesday. I'd be starting Wilson on Tuesday, then giving Isak 20 to 25 minutes later on, says Paul. Yeah, I think so as well. You just got to get Isak's minutes built back up in his legs, and once that's done, boom. One good thing is, because we're at the FA Cup, we've got a free weekend now, so maybe Eddie can get and get the players sorted out then as well in the end of January, so they've got extra training time. Paul says 100% Wolves got robbed yesterday with two decisions. They should have won that. Yeah, I heard. I've not seen it, but I heard about it and heard apparently that was never an offside goal. Blakey, strongest possible lineup on Tuesday. We don't play until Sunday. Yeah, I'm sure we will do. Julie says, Eddie did get his selection wrong yesterday, in my honest opinion. Yeah, he did. I mean, he had to rest players, unfortunately, but it's one of them. It is what it is, and we're out the FA Cup, but, it may be a blessing in disguise in the long run. We might actually look at that and think, do you know what? Like Cambridge did last year, they did us a favour knocking us out. It meant we had the Premier League to concentrate on survival, and that's exactly what we did. We didn't have the hindrance of a cup run, because not with it only that, when you got the extra cup run, you've got to think about injuries as well. That's the beauty of having your own opinion, Julie. I think he got it right. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Football's all about opinions at the end of the day. Howe is right that the team should have beat Sheffield Wednesday. We had 22 shots a goal and it was all piss poor finishing. Absolutely, Paul. Totally agree. Rat says, Brenton Diaz is championship player. F that we aiming for Ashley signs right now. No, he's not an Ashley sign. He wouldn't be an Ashley signing. He's an actual international player for Chile as well. And I don't think that's a backward step. I mean, some teams have bought players from the Championship. I mean, right, let's look at Liverpool when they signed Andy Robertson from Hull. I bet the Liverpool fans were thinking, why was signing Andy Robertson from Hull for? But look at the player he is. But just because this player's playing the Championship doesn't mean to say he can't cut it in the Premier League. You got to give him a chance. And, I mean, when you look at when Brighton came up with us, look at some of their players that played in the Championship. They've turned out all right in the Premier League. So, just because a player's come from the Championship doesn't mean to say they're not Premier League standard. Give them a chance. Can't we swap Wood with Diaz? Well, Diaz is out of contract, isn't he, at the end of the season? So it depends. We could do. And Rat says, no, he's not. Knight says, I'd swap Wood for Windass. Yeah, Josh Windass had a good game, didn't he? Julie says, I'd swap Wood for anything. Yeah, I think anybody would, wouldn't it? I mean, Marcus Thuram, we can get him for 10 million. Why just need to go and get him? I mean, the guy can not only play forward, but he can play left wing as well. And that would be a tremendous signing, getting Marcus Thuram in. Kong says, Trolls, I'd swap Wood for a kebab. Trolls, you would just swap Wood for anything just to get him out of the club. because we know how much you do not like Chris Wood. Gary says, when we played Arsenal on their ground, they had been embarrassed on their own ground. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did embarrass them, and yeah, they didn't like it at all, did they? And Arteta was like a spoiled kid. And he wants to see Foley's Eddie's house call with the Saudi Prince after the FA Cup. No, I haven't seen that. Oh, that guy's funny, isn't he? He's brilliant, though, isn't he? Yeah, I've not, but I'm going to have a look. Darren Foley, I think he's called, isn't he? Troll says, not yet, Chaz, but I've seen it after this. Arsenal for life. Hi, Arsenal for life. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe, mate. That'd be brilliant. Back to life, back to reality. Do you know what? Yeah, it is, mate. But the thing is, though, I mean, I mentioned your team when you went to Wrexham and got beat when you had them great players on your side, the likes of Seaman, Dixon, Bold, Winterburn by Wrexham. It does sort of hit you, but then we look at it and, I mean, if you're a football fan, you support Arsenal, but you'd probably look at our team from the outside and think, well, to be fair, you haven't got the strength and depth, and that showed yesterday. So, but I know exactly what you mean, and you're absolutely spot on. Julie talking to chairs. Chelsea is looking even more forward to it now. Thank you, Chairs. Julie says, I'm a huge Darren Foley fan. It's hilarious. Yeah, I'm going to have a look because I think that guy is so funny. He makes you laugh. Gary says, well, it proves that ESM was not at Spurs yesterday, Tony. Exactly, Gary. 100%. I mean, where the hell did somebody get that from? You know, he's at Spurs. Where have they getting that idea from? Obviously, he was sitting at home because he's watching the TV because he put it on there. Oh, but by the way, we better not see we're sitting at home watching TV because fans may come out now and say, actually, and there might be a meltdown on Twitter and they might say, actually, no, he was sitting in a hotel room in North London watching it. But no, I know what you mean. I'm just being sarcastic, by the way, Gary. But yeah, definitely. Troll says, Liverpool make me sit. They get so many things in their favour. They do. Absolutely. Liverpool always get the decisions, don't they? God help them, Tony. Yeah. To be fair, I did see some Liverpool fans admit they got lucky with the goal ruled out. I haven't seen it, but I'll have to have a look. His Carragher impression has improved as well. Yeah, oh, he's funny, isn't he? Agent Rafa is his best impression. All talking about that. Paul says, Salah was offside for his goal and Mo's last goal was onside. Pundits in the FA Cup recap were in disbelief. Again, VAR. Still not good enough in this country, is it? Trolls indeed, Julie. Douto, hi Douto, how are you? As if, how are we third but losing to Wednesday? Joke of a club. We're not a joke of a club. We lost to Wednesday, but you know what? Sheffield Wednesday are on an unbeaten run as well. They haven't lost a game for 100 days. Problem is, the squad depth just proved yesterday not good enough, and that is why we lost the game. There's supposed to be footballers at least on target. Peter says, I think Thuram is waiting on an Italian club. Shame. Yeah, he probably is. Julie says, Thuram's supposed to have turned us down. Again, it's all rumours, but who knows? Who knows? I think John's doing a show at about 3. Are you joining him, Tony? I am joining him, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Julie, I heard that too. Tangi. Mike Dean was on VAR for Liverpool Wolves. Say no more. Oh, well, there we go, Tangi. What does that say? Somebody, I mean, I know he's a Tranmere fan, but apparently his sons are Liverpool season ticket holders, aren't they? So what does that tell you? I mean, you know, just shows you, doesn't it? Yeah. Guys, if you like what you see, please hit the like button. It does send the channel up the search results and helps it found more easily. So please smash those likes. Absolutely fantastic. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so, it helps the channel grow, and also the bell notification tells you when I've got a live show, a pre-record, or an upcoming shows. Thank you very much. Paul says, it's narrow mind, uneducated messages like that we don't need at the club. Sorry, we can win them all, but we are certainly not a joke. See the bigger picture. I totally agree, Paul. I don't know who that person is. I've not seen them before. They're obviously watching this on Twitch. But yeah, we're definitely not a shambles of a club, that's for sure. We used to be, but we aren't anymore. We used to be a joke under the previous ownership, but we are not anymore. And that's what people need to realise now, don't they? And so, yeah. Now, if I was to name a man of the match yesterday, well, who would you pick out of that for man of the match? There's only two players who come out, who I look at that and think could potentially be a man of the match for Newcastle. And I look at Botman, because Botman had to carry Lascelles as well yesterday, and Jamal Lewis. But of that, I would say Joe Linton gets my vote, because I thought Joe Linton was absolutely brilliant yesterday. I thought he was fantastic. He covered every blade of grass that was possible. He set Wood up for that chance, which Wood put over the bar, which he shouldn't have. He should have hit the bloody target. If that had been Wilson, that would have been nestling in the back of the net. But like I say, it was between Botman and Joe Linton, but I've gone for Joe Linton just. And it's literal just over Botman. But yeah, Joe Linton will be fuming because he knew he had an assist coming, and he's probably thinking, bloody hell, Wood, why didn't you just bury that? Because at least I would have had an assist against me name. Now I can't even have an assist. So, yeah. Paul says, Joe Linton man the match. Yeah, I totally agree. So does I Like Coffee. Julie says, a comment probably not from a Toon supporter. Probably not, Julie, no. And yeah, not reminding people again. Probably a Mackham. Tangi says, Cardiff 1, Leeds 0. Oh, brilliant. Well, see, there's another shock happening. But Leeds aren't that great, to be fair. Can Qual play for us? And if so, why aren't we giving him a chance when you see what's on the bench? Do you know what? That's a bloody good question, Trolls. He could have played. But I know we sent him up to see Hartston to sort out a loan move. But do you know what it is? I wouldn't have been a bad idea to just have him on the bench yesterday. And then to say, right, I'll tell you what, mate. Get on there. We've got 20 minutes left. Get on there. Or half an hour left. Go and see what you can do. There would have been no pressure on the lad. And who knows? But yeah. But maybe Eddie didn't want to use him. I don't know. Julie says Botman. Yeah, I was close between Botman and Joe Linton, but I just pipped him by Joe Linton. Big Joe for me, says Trolls. Leslie says Cardiff 1, Leeds 0. Yeah, brilliant. Big Joe is so much better in the middle of the park compared to being out on the left. Yes, he is. Tangi Leeds have put a strong team out. Wow. Leslie saying, sorry, Tangi, I didn't see your comment. Joe Linton would have scored that, lol. Yeah, he would have. Yeah. We need Big Joe in the midfield. Totally agree, says Trolls. Yeah, well, now Isak's back. He can play on the wing, can't he? So, Paul says, some of the silky smooth, quick crease from Joe yesterday. Man that run the box too was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, yeah. Like I say, it's a shame we got out the FA Cup, but we've got to give credit to Sheffield Wednesday. I would say I definitely agree with the pundits on the BBC. The man of the match yesterday had to be Josh Windass. I thought he was absolutely terrific for them yesterday. The guy's on a hot scoring streak at the moment, and we presented him with a chance, especially the second goal, and he put it away with aplomb, and there was nothing anybody was going to do about that. It was a well-taken finish. If there had been a goal scored like that in the Premier League, it would be talked about for months, and yeah. Gary says, the dark days are well and truly over, Tony. They are, Gary. They're well and truly gone, mate. We have got rid of that dark cloud that used to be above us called Mike Ashley. And we are now riding on the crest of a wave, which is only going to get bigger and better. And I've always said we are a juggernaut. We will start off slow, but we will pick up pace, and when we pick up the speed, we will smash right through that top 6, and that is exactly what we are doing at the moment. Keep the faith, guys. Keep the faith. Troll says, we only have 2 strikers, so wouldn't use Isak on the wings. Yeah, maybe not. You need to make an absolutely remote, mate. That's definitely your word. Is Abu Bakr a good player? Yeah, he's not a bad player. He's played for Morocco in the World Cup, didn't he? Because Leicester's in for him, aren't they? He plays for Angers in France. But Leicester want to pay about 25 million for him, but I think Angers are looking for more like 35 million. So that's not a done deal yet. But Leicester did say, well, The Athletic put a tweet out. I don't know if anybody saw this on Friday. Brendan Rodgers has told Leicester City Football Club that any players that don't want to be here, he wants them sold in January, including the out-of-contract players. So does that include Maddison in that as well? Because Maddison hasn't signed his new deal, has he? So, yeah, let's see. I like Coffee says, Morocco, Cameroon. Oh, yes, Cameroon. Sorry. Yeah, Cameroon he is. Yes, that's right. He's Cameroonian, yeah. But, yeah, who knows? But that was an interesting tweet I saw from The Athletic. And, yeah, normally they're pretty spot on. And it's a strange one if Brendan Rodgers has said that. And there's one player out of contract from Leicester at the end of the season. And no, he's not. We're not touching him with a barge pole, by the way, and that's Jose Perez. Along with Johnny Evans and Ryan Bertrand and Daniel Marty, I think is another one. If Leicester sell Maddison and Tielemans, they'll have the extra cash. Absolutely, Julie. And then they can go out and buy that Abubuka. Gary says, it's like I said yesterday, Wood is looking at the goal and not looking at the ball. Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. But as a striker, he should be making sure he hits that on target. He could have scored that and he just wasted the chance. Del Boy. Hello, Big Tony. Hope you're good, pal. Hey, Del Boy. Great guy is Del Boy. Big Arsenal fan, but absolutely mad as a hat. A brilliant guy. If you've not seen his channel, go and have a look. This guy is absolutely fantastic. He's a brilliant guy. I was on his show the other day. I could only do 20 minutes on Friday because I was doing a preview with 2 Sheffield Wednesday fans. And yeah, this guy is brilliant. So if you've never seen him before, go and have a look. He's absolutely brilliant. And he's a really nice guy as well. And yeah, hope you're good as well, Del Boy. So guys, if you like what you see, hit the like button. It does send the channel up the search results. So make sure you smash the likes. Thank you very much. And also, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. Helps the channel grow. And bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. So guys, we've talked about all sorts. I don't think we've talked too much about the game. We've talked bits and pieces about the game. But obviously, it was a disappointment yesterday to lose in the FA Cup third round for the second year in a row. Well, it's the third time in a row, but the second year in a row with League One opposition. But we do have a Carabao Cup quarter-final on Tuesday against Leicester City at St James's Park. So let's go out there and let's go and win that game. I'm going 2-0 on Tuesday. That's my prediction. Also, we then got Fulham again next Sunday, back in the Premier League, and I think it's a 2:15 kickoff, which will be on Sky as well. And let's get the bounce back ability back on Tuesday. Bounce back ability is very important, and that will happen on Tuesday, I believe. We'll beat Leicester. Let's hope we do. We'll have our full strength team back, and yeah, and let's get to the semi-finals of the Cup. It's 2 legs, so whoever you get, you've got 2 legs. If you lose the first leg, you've got the second leg to put it right. And that's the beauty of the Carabao Cup. Ugly Hood Rat, hello to you, mate, if you're new. Thank you very much. He says, Matt Ritchie was brought to help us escape the championship. Why is he still here 7 years later? Problem is, previous owner didn't really invest in the team, so we couldn't really get rid of too many players. That was the problem. It's down to the previous owner, unfortunately. And yeah, But now we have new owners. We've just got to try and get rid of these players, and it's hard, but they will go eventually. Leslie says 2-0 for Tuesday. Yeah, let's hope. Troll says great show. Troll says see you later on Toon Review, people. Yeah, I'm sure Paul's probably doing a review tonight or later on. Yeah, if you've not caught up with Paul's channel, go and catch up. He's got a great channel as Paul with him, Billy, Danielle, and Alex, and all great people on there, by the way. Del Boyce, I'm not sure you or any of that Toon Army fans agree with me, but Newcastle should surely go for the top 4 now, and the League Cup would be nice. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Del Boy, and I'm sure a lot of our fans will agree with you as well. Yeah, we're at the FA Cup, but let's try and cement a place in the top 4. And do you know what? We can win this League Cup, especially if we beat Leicester and say, for instance, you end up with the Manchester Derby in the semi-finals. Then I can see us going through and beating either Nottingham Forest or Wolves. I can see we're beating one of those two. So yeah, it should be all right. Does anybody else agree with Delboy? Because I do. See you all later on John's channel and TTR, says Julie. Thank you, Julie. Julie says 2-0 Tuesday. Nice one. No, 2-0 Cardiff, says Leslie. Oh, 2-0 Cardiff. Okay, sorry, Leslie. We thought you meant what your score prediction was for Tuesday. Sorry. Oh, well, that's Leeds going out then. Makes that all a little bit sweeter that, we're not the only ones for a giant killing. Bye, Tony and all. Bye, LA Coffee. See you later. Yeah, guys, so it's been a marathon. I've been going for 2 hours now, but it's been great to be on here. And it's been a fantastic show, guys. Thank you to everybody who's come on, and thank you to everybody who's subscribed today as well. It means an awful lot to me, and it's great that the channels get grown from strength to strength. I've only been going since October, and my aim is to bring you as much great content as I can possibly bring you. As I say, at the end of the day, I wear my heart on my sleeve, black and white through and through, have been for over 40 years now, and the only way is up, as I say. Peter says, players on long contracts are to blame for why some aging players are still here. Exactly, Peter. You're absolutely right, mate. And but I'm sure these owners will start getting rid of these players. That's what they've done with Kieran Clark. We're paying half his wages at Sheffield United. He's out of contract at the end of the season, so he won't be back. He's gone. So that's what we're doing with some of these players. So, Anyway, thanks, guys, for being on. It's been a pleasure, and enjoy the rest of whatever you're doing on your Sunday afternoon. If you're having a Sunday roast, enjoy your Sunday roast. And, like I say, keep the faith. We're still in the Carabao Cup. We're still in the top 4. It's not critical. We're not in danger of relegation or anything like that. Let's be positive. There was a negative yesterday. That's gone. We'll forget about what happened yesterday. We now look forward to Tuesday. See what happens on Tuesday. Hopefully, we're in the semi-finals of that Carabao Cup. And then we got Fulham back next Sunday in the Premier League. Come on, guys. The only way is up. And that's exactly where we are with Eddie Howe and this new ownership. We're on a roller coaster. We're enjoying the ride. Let's continue to enjoy this ride. Until next time, guys, take care. I will see you later. Bye-bye for now.